70.
Sorry, Jerry, were you saying my level's very faint, is it?
It
is, yes, Dara. It's quite down.
No
Fine for me, Dara. It's not like mad loud, but I can certainly hear you.
Try that now.
Two.
Yeah, that's okay.
Try a.
Yeah, that's the balance.
Yeah.
That's better.
For me, Dara, it's not like mad loud, but I can certainly hear you.
It might be a bit loud when you sing.
Yeah. I might just have to keep an eye on it and adjust it.
Yeah.
If I do sing or when I do sing.
When you do sing. Did you all get my message about Luke? The phone call from Luke at tea time.
I did. That's great.
Yeah, I just was gobsmacked. I said, "Oh."
You're being...
Okay, folks, you're on YouTube, so just be aware of said fact. All right.
Okay.
I need to.
We'll just sit here and drink our...
Okay, I need to turn off the sound here just because it just gets very echoey. So just give me a minute.
I'll have a proper... I was having a slurp.
See waiting room. Yeah. Admit all. Oh, am I allowed to admit people? Yeah, go on, I will. I'll be bold.
Make sure it's nobody in... Yeah.
Oh, dear, yeah. Andrew Baskeel, we know him, don't we?
Yeah, Andrew's on.
You'll need to rename
And
that.
that's Brian.
Raka.
That's Brian, Luke's son. Hi,
Yeah,
Brian.
we're here now. What's up?
Thanks, Brian.
No.
The Harkine. Anthony.
Well, when we start, guys, I've had a word with Raka about this. There's just one or two kind of opening remarks I'd like to make, and then I'll hand it over to Raka if somebody's who's going to be pressing the buttons. Hello.
How are you?
Yeah,
How are you, kiddo? How are you?
There's your main man now.
Ken, a few people will be pushing buttons because there's different people introducing different people. So we said that whoever's doing the introduction will do the button pushing.
Okay, right. So I'll have to search for Raka Donnelly then later in a bit. Let me go on to gallery view then. Is Raka with us yet?
Will you put it down there as a member? Because I'll be.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Ken?
Yes, Raka, I can hear you. You must be on another page. There you are.
I'm trying. I'm top left. I'm the handsome one.
Yeah. I can see you. Don't worry.
Yeah.
How could
I'm
I
trying to
possibly
change my
miss you?
name. I'm trying to change my name, and there's no rename option on that one.
Okay, don't worry.
I can do it for you, Raka.
I'll do here. Hang on.
Is that McDara?
It is indeed.
Hey, I trust you. Because you could change it to Racker, that'd be okay. Oh, Racker and Maggie.
Okay.
Look at Luke.
Racker,
dressed for the
Racker,
part, look.
Racker and Cracker, if you prefer.
Racker and Cracker. Well, it's Racker and Maggie now.
Really good. Several people dressed for the part. Now you.
Oh, you better.
But it's Luke saying hello to you.
Oh, hello. Hello. How are we doing, everyone?
All right.
You got a special hello from Luke.
I can't see Luke.
There he is.
Oh,
Look, he's all dressed
wow,
up.
he's all dressed up. Didn't
Yes.
see you, Luke.
Huh?
Brilliant. Costume.
In fact, there's more than one got dressed up for the occasion.
My costumes. Yeah.
Oh, that's something cool.
I'm not going to be doing waiter all night or waitress.
McDara, what do you call that microphone?
This is an Ear Trumpet Labs microphone. They're a company in Portland, Oregon, who make nice fancy mics.
Hello?
Ear Trumpet Labs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Super hat.
There's two. I don't know who the.
No.
Oh no, it'll be warm by the time. I'll get me
Now,
on.
Chantel.
Hello.
Lovely flowers.
Hiya, Martin.
How are you? Hi, Gary. How's it going?
Good.
Hi, Martin. Good
Hi.
on you. Great, Martin Doyle. Ray and Claire. Good on you. How are you?
Can you hear me?
We can indeed, yeah.
We can, yes, perfectly.
Is my sound okay?
Yes, Brendan.
You're fine, Brendan.
Excellent.
Wrecker, any idea what's the girl's name? Hines?
Jacqueline.
Yeah.
Well, she's hoping to come. That's what she said
Okay.
yesterday.
Yeah, okay.
Oh yes, sorry, yeah.
There's illness in the family, so there's a doubt about it.
Oh, there is a doubt
Where's
about it.
where's the hats from today? Where am
That's only Ferguson and Mary then. That's all we need. There's only 3 missing.
Peter's got a hat on.
Ferguson,
Very
Mary.
good woman.
Ferguson, Mary, and Jacqueline Hines are the only 3 that are missing.
Maura, if you don't mind, I'm going to test out some of these videos for sharing, just to see if they come up on the screen, okay?
Yep.
I'm kidding.
I'm sorry, Brian.
Oh, lordy, lordy.
Looking forward to it. Ken's doing all the hard work. I mean,
Well,
as well as
not as
well as
hard
some
as
of
some of
you.
these,
Well,
but-
I'm not doing it, what I'm saying.
Oh, I gave up doing hard work 20 years ago. Martin, what will you be playing at the start? Can you hear me?
I've always been brought up to believe.
Yeah, I'm going to play two tunes as you requested. Yeah, okay. And one is called by Mr. Joyce himself, the Snowy Crested Curl, otherwise known as the Snowy Breasted Pearl. Snowy Breasted Pearl, yeah. And the other one is Oft in the Stilly Night. Oh, lovely, lovely, lovely. Can I join you? Yes. Oh, Martin, how are you?
Long time no see.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We have not made the
Well,
pilgrimage.
younger
You're getting, but I can't see it. He's hogging the limelight there.
Yeah, he's going to move over in a minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm still not a.
Oh, yeah. We're asking about Jacqueline.
All right.
But I mean, a lot of people haven't arrived.
Yeah. Where are you?
I'm in the dispatch on the left.
All right.
Cracker.
If you can change my AOF to Chantal Zabara, that would be good. If you can't, it doesn't matter.
Ken and
We can, Anton. I'll do that for you now.
Luke Cheevers. Antonia O'Farrakhan. Doyle.
Okay, folks, it's up on YouTube, and I have posted it on the Golian page, on the Musical Traditions page, and on the Larry's page as well. So have I left anyone out?
I don't think so.
Okay, super.
Andrew Basquille and
Where's it?
Brendan Kennedy. There's
All
Andrew.
right. Yeah.
Brendan Kennedy. Frank Nugent, you do know. What's happened? Oh, it's all right. These are atmosphere, you know, sense of the time. That's very good, isn't it?
Oh, very good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to mute myself. Well, Racker, you're going to go first. I'm going to mute myself until I'm needed.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Luke would love that now.
Great, isn't it?
Like, is it?
Participants. I'm unmuted. Unmuted. Sorry. Unmuted. I hope they've remembered I want to make a few. No, wait till the film show.
Oh, so it's done.
Yeah, no, there's still playing there. Could somebody give me a shout when we're ready? Hello?
Ken,
Yeah?
do you want to say the first words, or do you want me to say that you're who you are?
No, I would like to make some opening remarks and then introduce you, Raka. But I think we need to stop the film show first, don't we? Okay. Right. Are we all ready to go?
Don't know.
Oh, right.
We don't have Fergus or Mary yet.
All right. Okay.
And we've the flute.
Martin's there.
Martin's there for the
Yeah.
flute.
Yeah. But Ken will speak first. And then
Are we waiting for Fergus and Mary though?
yeah.
Okay.
You could probably start because Fergus and Mary are quite well down the list, if you know what I mean.
Okay then. Righto. Well, first of all, welcome everybody wherever you're watching this, wherever you're watching it. Welcome to our Zoomsday Bloomsday evening, co-hosted by Angolian the night before Larry was stretched, and the Musical Traditions Club. Now, early in this century, the Irish government paid in the region of 12.5 million euros for early drafts of Ulysses and Finnegan's Wake. And they were actually brought into Dublin Airport, where they were met by Eamon de Valera's granddaughter, which was a bit ironic, really, in itself. And they were more or less treated as holy relics. And this is what Fintan O'Toole had to say about it. For those of us who had known the thrill of reading Joyce when he was still a scandalous author of dirty books, this was a bittersweet moment. These were not made to become holy relics. These precious pages, for each of which the Irish government paid around $30,000, stink of flesh, ordure, and bodily fluids. They are steeped in forbidden thoughts and dishonorable desires, in secrets, blasphemy, and sex. So now you know what kind of evening you're in for. I'd like to hand over to if I can find him, to Racker Donnelly. There he is.
Right, thanks very much, Ken. And Guy, you're talking about Irish hypocrisy there for a second. And Eamon de Valera, you know, who welcomed the remains of James Joyce, his party piece was Curtin Van Ihe, the Midnight Court, which was Ireland's contribution to filth and frivolity for the world. Anyway, my job is, and it's a great job. I am a Bray man, I was a Bray boy anyway. And this is highly relevant because, of course, Joyce was a Bray boy as well. The only safe, warm, snug house he had in his whole Irish career was in Bray itself, what's now Liz McManus's house, by the sea in Bray. So he was a Bray boy. And it's now my pleasant duty to introduce the king of music in Bray and Clare and County Clare, Bray and County Clare. And that is the wonderful Martin Doyle. And he's going to give us two beautiful tunes. The Snowy Breasted Pearl and Oft in the Stilly Night by that lovely man, Tom Moore. So here we have Martin Doyle of Bray and County Clare. Okay, take it away, Martin. Thank you, Martin. A great flute player and a great flute maker. And I'm remembering that Martin and I and Des Gerety made a radio program in the Joyce house in Bray some years ago.
Number 5, Martello Girls. Or no, number 7, 8, number 8, Martello Girls.
Yeah. And now I'm to introduce James Joyce, who never got around to writing his autobiography, so I took the trouble to write it for him. So away we go. My name's James Joyce. I've a golden voice. Born in Dublin, life was grim, but the family called me Sonny Jim. When Pappy was happy, he could talk for Ireland, or better still, County Cork. Cursed by a thirst, no Saint Jerome, he drank us out of house and home, messed up his job as a rate collector, mistreated mother, bigoddy rector, child after child. Kalukale, bailiffs a high by, head for Bray, where I loved, alas, a prod. Holy Ireland, God help me, God. At Newman's Uni, off my knees, I worshipped Ibsen and took my ease up at Tower in Sandy Cove. First Bloomsday. I loved a great woman from Galway Bay, and away went we from our native land, free from cash or a marriage band, into Illyria interminglish. I taught Austro-Hungarians Irish English, and wrote about me, dear Dublin, and poems only fit to be sung. 2 splendiferous tomes, Ulysses and Finnegan's Wake, rejoice with oysters and whiskey cake, for now that I'm out of copyright, you're all very welcome and free to recite from Molly Bloom and the Wake and all, while over in Zurich, there by the Zoo, I'll be laughing and singing along with you. There you go. And the next performer is Chantal. Is Chantal Dabara here? And anyway, it's Moira is introducing you, I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
Away.
So Chantal is waiting there, looking suitably Joycean, and she's going to sing a couple of songs, but I think she has a couple of words to say about them as well first. Off you go, Chantal.
Thanks, Moira. So I'm actually going to sing one song. I'll sing the songs of Araby. And this is the song that inspired Joyce, the short story Araby in Dubliners. And as you'll hear in a moment, it's a song with an absolute magnificent vision of perfect idyllic love. And of course, in Joyce's short story, it doesn't quite work out like that. And the young man at the end of the story is in a state of absolute bleak despair, having lost everything, both the love and the dreams and visions of mystical, magical Araby. And I suppose for me, the poignancy of this song lies somewhere in this idyllic love that the song expresses, and the hidden reality of lost love, which is what James Joyce wrote about. I'll sing these songs of Araby and tales of fair Kashmir, wild tales to cheat thee of a sigh, or charm thee to a tear. And dreams of delight shall on thee break, and rainbow visions rise, and all my soul shall strive to wake sweet wonder in thine eyes. And all my soul shall strive to wake sweet wonder in to those twin lakes when wonder breaks, my raptured song shall sing. And as the diver dives for her pearls, bring tears, sweet tears to their brim. And dreams of delight shall on thee break, and rainbow visions rise, and all my soul shall strive to wake sweet wonder in thine eyes, and all my soul shall strive to wake sweet wonder in thine eyes, to cheat thee of a sigh, and charm thee to a tear.
Beautiful, Chantal. Thanks a million. Okay, so we are going to go from Chantal to a fairly, you could say, a goalie stalwart at this stage. Sean O'Harkine is frequently coming, and he comes to the goalie very often, or he used to when we were in real life. Sean, I'm going to ask you to you're there. You go to unmute yourself, and Sean is going to sing Mappery. Is that correct?
This song features in the Sirens chapter of Ulysses, where Bloom is equating the girl Martha in the original song with Molly, and he's worrying about losing Molly. The original song was in German, but in Ulysses, Joyce uses the English translation by Jeffries, which I'll attempt now, and maybe might put in a little bit of the Italian version as well, because the Italian version is very, very widely known. When first I saw that form endearing, sorrow from me seemed to depart. Each graceful look, each word so cheering, charmed my eye and won my heart. Full of hope and all delighted, none could feel more blessed than I. All on earth that I could wish for was near her to live and die. But alas, 'twas idle dreaming, and the dream too soon had flown. Not one ray of hope was gleaming. I am lost. Yes, I am lost. For she is gone. Tout amor, il mio sguardo incontro, vela sì che il mio cuore ansioso a lei volò.
Martha, Martha, I am sighing, I am weeping still for thee. Come, thou lost one, come, thou dear one, thou alone canst comfort me. Ah, Martha, return. Come to me. That was great, Sean. And we'll hear from Sean again with any luck at all. And Joyce would be enjoying every moment of this. And the next song, it was also a favorite of his, and it will be delivered by Ken Hall, who is, along with Peter Webb, the inspiring spirit or spirits of the Musical Traditions Club in London, of which I have the honor to be a resident artiste. And he will reveal that apart from Peter, he has a yen for a different kind of woman, a different kind of woman on occasion. So that's what he'll be singing about. So here's Ken Hall with the Yorkshire Girl, if that's the full title. Anyway, Ken will straighten us out. Away you go, Ken.
You unmuted for that.
Did you not hear me?
Were you unmuted?
Oh, right, you can hear me now, can't you? Right. Yeah, despite the stream of consciousness technique, there's nothing at all random in Ulysses. This very kind of simple musical song actually furthers the Odyssean theme of the universal temptress and her suitors and her husband who reclaims his right to her. It's featured twice in Ulysses. First of all, in the Wandering Rocks episode, when Blazes Boylan is, I think, whistling it as he's walking down the street. And then it's played in the Circe episode, is it? It's played on the piano in a brothel. So it's a musical song, as I say, and it's called My Girl's a Yorkshire Girl. Two young fellows were talking about the girls, sweethearts they'd left behind, sweethearts for whom they pined. Once said my little shy little girl has a waist so trim and small, grey are her eyes so bright, but best of all, my girl's a Yorkshire girl, Yorkshire through and through. My girl's a Yorkshire girl, by gum, she's a champion, though she's a factory lass and wears no fancy clothes. Still, I've kind of a Yorkshire relish for my little Yorkshire rose. When the first finished singing the praise of Rose, 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 poor number two looked vexed, saying in tones perplexed, my girl works in a factory too, and has also eyes of grey. Her name is Rose as well, and strange, strange to say. My girl's a Yorkshire girl, Yorkshire through and through. My girl's a Yorkshire girl, by gum, she's a champion, though she's a factory lass and wears no fancy clothes. Still, I've sort of a Yorkshire relish for my little Yorkshire girl. To a cottage in Yorkshire they hied to Rose, 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 meaning to make it clear which was the boy most dear. Rose, their Rose, never answered their bell, but her husband did instead. Loudly he sang to them as off they fled. My girl's a Yorkshire girl, Yorkshire through and through. My girl's a Yorkshire girl, by gum, she's a champion, though she's a factory lass and wears no fancy clothes. Still, I'm sort of a Yorkshire relish for my little Yorkshire Rose. Piano bit. La dum da 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 dum da 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 dum bum 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 da 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 dum da da rum bum 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 bum. Though she's a factory lass and wears no fancy clothes, still I've sort of a Yorkshire relish for my little Yorkshire Rose. That's it. Thank you.
Wonderful stuff, Mr. Ken Hall, coming to you all the way from London. I wonder if your Essex girl has anything to say about your Yorkshire girl, but we won't get into that. Okay, coming up next, it's probably no surprise to most of you that Joyce was, in fact, a great admirer of traditional songs, and on a couple of occasions he actually wrote parodies of traditional songs. One such example was the song he wrote called Molly Bloom, which we should be due to hear a little bit later. But to sing the original song, Molly Brannigan, we have Alan Woods from Leitrim. Alan, as I say, is a Leitrim man, but he has decided to drag himself down into the Dublin mud to join us and sing a Dublin song. Alan Woods, are you there?
Yeah, Tommy, I'm sure. I'm here. I'm in the basement of Dublin, you might say, right now. I'm underground. I'm literally under the streets of Dublin. I'm here in the basement of the Traditional Music Archive in Merrion Square. And yeah, I'm going to sing Molly Brannigan. I first heard John McCormick, a recording of John McCormick singing this song. And of course, there's the famous story, the alleged sing-off between John McCormick and James Joyce back around 1903. But that story is just a story, it seems, because I think Martin Dowling, in a book he brought out back in 2014, he has a whole chapter on Joyce and he goes into that story and he more or less debunks it. But anyway, still a good story. So I'll sing Molly Brannigan. Ma'am dear, did you never hear of pretty Molly Brannigan in throat that she's let me? And I'll never be a man again. Not a spot on my hide will a summer sun ne'er tan again. Since Molly's gone and left me here alone for to die. The place where me heart was, yet easy roll a turn up in. Oh, it's as large as all Dublin, and from Dublin to the Devil's Glen. If she wished to take another, then she might have put mine back again, and not have gone and left me here alone for to die. Man dear, I remember when the milking time was past and gone, we strolled through the meadows, and she swore I was the only one that ever she would love. But oh, the false and cruel one, for all that she left me here alone for to die. Man, dear, I remember when coming home the rain began. I wrapped my frieze coat around her, and ne'er a waistcoat had I on. Though my shirt was rather fine drawn, but oh, the false and cruel one, for all that she left me here, alone for to die. Oh, the left side of my carcass is as weak as water gruel, ma'am. Oh, there's not to pick upon my bones, since Molly's proved so cruel, ma'am. And if I had a blunder gun, I'd go and fight a duel, ma'am. For I'm better off to shoot myself than live here to die. I'm cool and determined as any salamander, ma'am. Will you come to my grave when I go the long meander, ma'am? Oh, I'll think myself as brave as the famous Alexander man, when I hear crying over me, how I did yet die. Sinead?
Wonderful stuff, Alan. A mighty job, even coming from a Dublin man like me. Okay, we're going to move swiftly on and head back to the wonderful Racker Donnelly for another piece. Racker, I have unmuted you.
Thanks, McDora. I love being unmuted. And it's a piece in Ulysses that has nothing to do with anything. It has nothing to do with the Blooms. It has nothing to do with the Daedaluses or anybody else. It's just Joyce having a lot of fun, and when he was in the mood, he was capable of laughing at anything. So this is called The Execution. The children of the male and female foundling hospital, who thronged the windows overlooking the scene, were delighted with this unexpected addition to the day's entertainment. And a word of praise is due to the Little Sisters of the Poor for their excellent idea of affording the poor fatherless and motherless children a genuinely instructive treat. The picturesque foreign delegation, known as the Friends of the Emerald Isle, consisted of Commendatore Baci Baci Benino Benone, Monsieur Pierre-Paul Petit Paton, the Grand Choker, Vladimir Pocket Handkerchief, the Arch Choker, Leopold Rudolf von Schwanzenbad Hodenholler, Hiram Y. Bombost, Count Athenatos Karamelopoulos, Ali Baba Bakshish Rahat Lokum Effendi, and Senor Hidalgo Caballero Don Pecadillo y Palabras de la Malora de la Malaria. Quietly, unassumingly, Rumbold stepped onto the scaffold in faultless morning dress and announced his presence by that gentle Rumboldian cough, which so many have tried unsuccessfully to imitate. The arrival of the world-renowned executioner was greeted by a roar of acclamation from the huge concourse. The foreign delegates cheered vociferously in a medley of cries, "Hoch Banzai, Yen Sivio, Chin Chin Polachronia, Hip Hip Vive Allah," amid which the ringing Viva of the delegate of the land of song was easily distinguishable. Hard by the block stood the grim figure of the executioner, his visage being concealed in a 10-gallon hat with two circular perforated apertures through which his eyes glowered furiously. As he awaited the final signal, he tested the edge of his horrible weapon by honing it upon his brawny forearm and decapitating in rapid succession a flock of sheep. The neck and non plus ultra of emotion were reached when the blushing bride-elect burst her way through the serried ranks of the bystanders and flung herself upon the muscular bosom of him who was about to be launched into eternity for her sake. rumbled, folded, her willowy form in a loving embrace, murmuring fondly, Sheila, my own. Encouraged by this use of her Christian name, she kissed passionately all the various suitable areas of his person, which the decencies of prison garb permitted her ardor to reach. She swore to him, as they mingled the salt stream of their tears, that she would cherish his memory, that she would never forget her hero boy, who went to his death with a song on his lips, as if he were but going to a hurling match in Clontarf Park. She brought back to his recollection the happy days of blissful childhood together on the banks of Anna Liffey, when they had indulged in the innocent pastimes of the young. And oblivious of the dreadful present, they both laughed heartily, all the spectators, including the venerable pastor, joining in the general merriment. That monster audience simply rocked with delight, much like yourselves. But anon the two were overcome with grief and clasped their hands for the last time. A fresh torrent of tears burst from their lacrimal ducts, and the vast concourse of people, touched to the inmost core, broke into heart-rending sobs. Big, strong men, officers of the peace and genial giants of the Royal Irish Constabulary, were making frank use of their handkerchiefs, and it is safe to say that there was not a dry eye in that record assemblage. A most romantic incident occurred when a handsome young Oxford graduate stepped forward and, presenting his visiting card, bank book and genealogical tree, solicited the hand of the helpless young lady and was accepted on the spot. Even the stern Provost Marshal, Lieutenant Colonel Tomkin Maxwell French Mullen Tomlinson, could not now restrain his natural emotion. With his mailed gauntlet, he brushed away a furtive tear, una furtiva lagrima, and was overheard by those in his immediate entourage to murmur to himself, "Go blimey, if she ain't a clinker, that there bleeding tart. Blimey, it makes me kind of bleeding cry. Straight it does when I sees her, 'cause I think of my old mash tub, what's waiting for me down Limehouse Way."
Did you?
There you go.
There we go. Okay.
Thanks so much, Racker. That was absolutely brilliant. So our next guest is Rosie Davis, who is, it has to be said at this point, also a stalwart of the goaling and has been doing sterling work for the last the last couple of months actually at this point, looking after us on a Friday night, doing some of the backroom stuff that nobody notices and rarely thanks. So Rosie, you're unmuted there, so do you want to go ahead?
Hello. Yeah, I'm going to sing you just a song at twilight. So. Once in the dear dark days beyond recall, when on the world the mist began to fall, out of our dreams that rise in happy throng, lo, to our hearts love sang an old sweet song. And in the dusk, where falls the firelight's gleam, softly it wove itself into our dream. Just a song at twilight, when the lights are low, and the flickering shadows softly come and go. Though the heart be weary, sad the day and long, still to us at twilight comes love. love's old song, comes love's old sweet song. Even today we hear it's the wine. Even today we hear love's song of yore. Deep in our hearts it dwells forevermore. Footsteps may falter, weary grows the day. Still we can hear it at the close of day. And still to the end, when life's dim shadows fall, love will be found the sweetest song of all. Just the song at twilight, when the lights are low, and the flickering shadows softly come and go. Though the heart be weary, sad the day and long, still to us at twilight comes love's old song, comes love's old sweet song.
Wonderful, wonderful stuff there from Rosie Davis. We will move on now shortly to a young singer by the name of Cillian O'Flanagan. And Cillian, kind of out on his own, has taken up the mantle of Joycean songs around Dublin. Much of his Joycean material was learned from great singers like Barry Gleeson. But this next one he's going to sing to you for you is called Mr. Dooley, or Dooley's Prudence, which was written by Joyce himself, I believe, for Finnegan's Wake, though someone can correct me on that. It's a great song, and this is actually one Cillian very proudly admits he got before Barry Gleeson did. And unfortunately, Cillian wasn't able to join us today, but he has provided himself in video form. So please enjoy Mr. Dooley from Cillian O'Flanagan. Uh-oh.
Who is the man when a whole gallant nations run to war, goes home to have his dinner by the very first cable cart, and as he eats his cantaloupes contorts himself in mirth to read the blatant bulletins on the rulers of the earth? It's Mr. Dooley, it's Mr. Dooley, he's the coolest chap our country ever knew. They're out to collar the diamond dollar. Thinks Mr. Dooley,
I'm very sorry, folks. I've had a bit of a glitch here, and for some reason the video is not showing up on the live stream. So I'm just going to give that a second go. Please bear with me.
Can we turn it down a little bit?
Just can you confirm you can all see that for me, folks? Can you see Cillian there on screen? Okay, let's give that a second run. Cillian O'Flanagan.
Who is the man when a whole gallant nations run to war, goes home to have his dinner by the very first cable cart, and as he eats his cantaloupes contorts himself in mirth to read the blatant bulletins on the rulers of the earth? It's Mr. Dooley, it's Mr. Dooley, he's the coolest chap our country ever knew. They're out to collar the diamond dollar. Thinks Mr. Dooley is the funny fellow who declines to go to church. Says Pope and priest and parson left that poor man in the lurch, and thought their flock the only way to save all human souls was piercing human bodies through with dum-dum bullet holes. It's Mr. Dooley, it's Mr. Dooley, he's the mildest man our country ever knew, who will release us from Jingo Jesus. Thinks Mr. Dooley, is the meek philosopher who doesn't give a damn about the yellow peril or the problems of Siam, and disbelieves that British tar is water from the fount, and will not go the gospel from the Germans on the mount. It's Mr. Dooley, it's Mr. Dooley. He's the mildest brain our country ever knew. The curse of Moses on both your houses. Thinks Mr. Dooley, is the cheerful imbecile who lights his lunch book with pages of the Pandemic Penal Code and Doomsday Book, but wonders why bald justices were bound by law to wear a toga or a wig made out of someone else's hair. It's Mr. Dooley, it's Mr. Dooley. He's the finest fool our country ever knew. They took that toilet from Punch's toilet, but he forgot to wash his hands. Who is the man who says he'll go to whole and perfect hog before he'll pay an income tax or license for a dog? But when he licks his postage stamps, regards with smiling scorn the face of king or emperor or snout of unicorn. It's Mr. Dooley, it's Mr. Dooley. He's the wildest wag our country ever knew. Oh, my poor tummy, his backside gummy, moans Mr. Dooley, who is the tranquil gentleman who won't salute the state or serve a bucket on us or a prolet 38, but thinks that every son of man has quite enough to do to paddle down the stream of life in his personal canoe. It's Mr. Dooley, it's Mr. Dooley. He's the wisest man our country ever knew. Poor Europe assembles like sheep to shambles. Sighs Mr. Dooley, who is the sunny skeptic who fights shy of Noah's Ark when they were made in Germany by Engels and by Marx. But when the social deluge come and rain begins to pour, takes off their coat and trousers and prepares to swim ashore. It's Mr. Dooley, it's Mr. Dooley. He's the bravest boy our country ever knew. His arms akimbo, I'll find that rainbow, shouts Mr. Dooley.
Wonderful stuff there from Cillian O'Flanagan from Santry in Dublin. With arms akimbo, I'll find that rainbow. Great. Unparalleled writing. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Okay, we are going to move on now to another great stalwart of the Goalian and a man who has entertained us for many years with great comic songs. He even composed a song about all these Zoom sessions. He is Mr. Brendan Kennedy. I'm going to unmute him now and he's going to give us a song.
Well, actually, what I have, McDara, is a reading from Ulysses. It's the description of Gertie MacDowell, who was seems to have been Joyce's perfect woman. Gertie MacDowell, who was seated near her companions, lost in thought, gazing far away into the distance, was, in very truth, as fair a specimen of winsome Irish girlhood as one could wish to see. She was pronounced beautiful by all who knew her, though, as folks often said, she was more a Giltrap than a MacDowell. Her figure was slight and graceful, inclining even to fragility. But those iron geloids she had been taking of late had done her a world of good, much better than the widow Walsh's female pills, and she was much better of those discharges she used to get, and that third feeling. The waxen pallor of her face was almost spiritual in its ivory-like purity, though her rosebud mouth was a genuine Cupid's bow, Greekly perfect. Her hands were of finely veined alabaster with tapering fingers, and as white as lemon juice and Queen of Ointments could make them, though it was not true that she used to wear kid gloves in bed or take a milk foot bath either. Bertha Supple told that once to Edie Boardman, a deliberate lie, when she was blacked out at daggers drawn with Gertie. The girl chums had, of course, their little tiffs from time to time like the rest of mortals. and she told her not let on whatever she did that it was her that told her, or she'd never speak to her again. Now, honour where honour is due. There was an innate refinement, a languid, queenly hauteur about Gertie, which was unmistakably evidenced in her delicate hands and high-arched instep. Had kind fate but willed her to be born a gentlewoman of high degree in her own right, and had she only received the benefit of a good education, Gertie MacDowell might easily have held her own beside any lady in the land, and have seen herself exquisitely gowned, with jewels on her brow, and patrician suitors at her feet, vying with one another to pay their devoirs to her. Mayhap it was this, the love that might have been, that lent to her softly featured face at whiles a look tense with suppressed meaning, that imparted a strange yearning tendency to the beautiful eyes, a charm few could resist. Why have women such eyes of witchery? Gertie's were of the bluest Irish blue, and set off by lustrous lashes and dark expressive brows. Time was when those brows were not so silkily seductive. It was Madame Vera Verity, directress of the Woman Beautiful page of the Princess Novelette, who had first advised her to try eyebrow line, which gave that haunting expression to the eyes so becoming in leaders of fashion, and she had never regretted it. Then there was blushing scientifically cured, and how to be tall, increase your height, and you have a beautiful face, but your nose. That would suit Mrs. Dignam because she had a button one. But Gertie's crowning glory was her wealth of wonderful hair. It was dark brown with a natural wave in it. She had cut it that very morning on account of the new moon, and it nestled about her pretty head in a profusion of luxuriant clusters, and pared her nails too, Thursday for wealth. And just now, at Edie's words, her cheek, as a telltale flush, delicate as the faintest rose bloom, crept into her cheeks. She looked so lovely in her sweet, girlish shyness that of a surety, God's fair land of Ireland did not hold her equal. For an instant, she was silent, with rather sad, downcast eyes. She was about to retort, but something checked the words on her tongue. Inclination prompted her to speak out, but dignity told her to be silent. The pretty lips pouted a while, but then she glanced up and broke out into a joyous little laugh, which had in it all the freshness of a young May morning. She knew right well, no one better, what made Squinty Edie say that, because of him cooling in his attentions when it was simply a lover's quarrel. As per usual, somebody's nose was out of joint about the boy that had the bicycle always riding up and down in front of our window. Only now, his father kept him in the evenings, studying hard to get an exhibition in the intermediate that was on, and he was going to Trinity College to study for a doctor when he left the high school, like his brother, W.E. Wiley, who was racing in the bicycle races in Trinity College University. Little recked he, perhaps, for what she felt, that dull, aching void in her heart sometimes, piercing to the core. Yet he was young, and perchance he might learn to love her in time. They were Protestants in his family, and of course Gertie knew who came first, and after him the Blessed Virgin, and then Saint Joseph. But he was undeniably handsome, with an exquisite nose, and he was what he looked, every inch a gentleman. The shape of his head, too, at the back, without his cap on, that she would know anywhere, something off the common. And the way he turned the bicycle at the lamp, with his hands off the bars, and also the nice perfume of those good cigarettes. And besides, they were both of a size, and that was why Edie Boardman thought she was so frightfully clever, because he didn't go and ride up and down in front of her bit of a garden. Gertie was dressed simply, but with the instinctive taste of a votary of Dame Fashion, for she felt that there was just a mite that he might be out. A neat blouse of electric blue, self-tinted by Dolly dyes, because it was expected in the ladies' pictorial that electric blue would be worn. With a smart V opening down to the division, and kerchief pocket in which she always kept a piece of cotton wool scented with her favourite perfume, because the handkerchief spoiled the sit. and a navy three-quarter skirt cut to the stride showed off her slim, graceful figure to perfection. She wore a coquettish little love of a hat of wide-leaved nigger straw, contrast trimmed with an underbrim of egg blue chenille, and at the side a butterfly bow to tone. All Tuesday week afternoon she was hunting to match that chenille, but at last she found what she wanted at Cleary's summer sales, the very it. Slightly shop-soiled, but you would never notice. 7 fingers, 2 and a penny. She did it up all by herself, and what joy was hers when she tried it on then, smiling at the lovely reflection which the mirror gave back to her. And then she put it on the water jug to keep the shape. She knew that that would take the shine out of some people she knew. Her shoes were the newest thing in footwear. Edie Boardman prided herself that she was very petite, but she never had a foot like Gertie McDowell, a 5, and never would, as show her Ellen, with patent toe caps and just one smart buckle at her high-arched instep. Her well-turned ankle displayed its perfect proportions beneath her skirt, and just the proper amount and no more of her shapely limbs, encased in fine-spun hose with high-spliced heels and wide garter tops. As for undies, they were Gertie's chief care. And who that knows the fluttering hopes and fears of sweet 17, though Gertie would never see 17 again, can find it in his heart to blame her. She had 4 dinky sets with awfully pretty stitchery, 3 garments and nighties extra, and each set slotted with different coloured ribbons, rose pink, pale blue, mauve and pea green. And she aired them herself, and blew them when they came home from the wash, and ironed them, and she had a brickbat to keep the iron on, because she wouldn't trust those washerwomen as far as she'd see them scorching the things. She was wearing the blue for luck, hoping against hope, her own colour, and the lucky colour too for a bride to have a bit of blue somewhere on her, because the green she wore that day week brought grief, because his father brought him in to study for the intermediate exhibition, and because she thought perhaps he might be out, because when she was dressing that morning, she nearly slipped up the old pair on her inside out, and that was for luck and lovers' meetings, if you put those things on inside out, so long as it wasn't of a Friday.
Wonderful stuff, Brendan. Thank you very much. It strikes me there that the mention of a Cleary's summer sale is great to be immortalised in literature. Sadly, it's a thing of the past, only too recently. Wonderful, wonderful stuff. Okay, as many of you will know, James Joyce's works have been adapted for various forms of media and art forms as well, radio, plays, what have you, and of course in cinema as well. And one of the great pieces of Irish cinema is John Huston's The Dead, which is of course based on the great short story of the same name by James Joyce from Dubliners. The movie sort of capitulates with a rendition of The Lass of Aughrim performed by Frank Patterson. And this is really the emotional crux of the film, and it essentially reminds the lead character Greta of a previous lover she had, and it's searingly emotional. And here to sing it for you is, once again, the great Sean O'Harkin. I'm going to ask him to unmute. He will have to accept. I do hope he accepts. He has accepted. Hallelujah. Oh, he is now unaccepted again. Here we have you. Go ahead, Sean.
Thanks very much for the lovely introduction, McDara. If you be the lass of Aughrim, which I'm taking you in to be, tell me the first moment that passed between you and me. Oh, don't you remember that night on yon green hill, where we both met together
sorry now to tell. Oh, the rain falls on my heavy locks, and the dew wets my skin. My babe lies cold within my arms, but none will let me in. Oh, the rain falls on my heavy locks, and the dew wets my skin. My babe lies cold within my arms, but none will let me.
Right, it's time for me to introduce Raka Donnelly again, who's going to give us another piece. I never did believe that James Joyce ever spitted in the Liffey, but I don't know about the other author that Raka's going to tell us about now. Raka, it's down to you.
Yeah, it's about it's written by, it says here, Brendan O'Behan, Brendan Behan, who wrote poems in Irish, very, very different from his wonderful books in English, like the classic Borstal Boy. But my understanding is that the poems in Irish are highly regarded, and insofar as I can understand them, I think that's justified. And this isn't one of his best poems, but it's great in some way. And that is, it's called Buíochas le Joyce, thanks to Joyce. And he's thanking Joyce not only for the wonderful books, which of course Brendan thoroughly appreciated, but also for the free drinks he got being a literary Dublin man in Paris. Everybody thought he was an expert on Joyce, and so they got him the free drink. So this is his way of saying thank you. And he wrote it as a poem in Irish, and I made a song out of it, which I'll do in a moment. But first, the Irish. Buíochas le Joyce. Anseo I hu André des Arts, I dorna arbach olta. Minim de raunkach fisrach hu, de XGIs is de roishach olta. Mullen gach kore dar chuirischer far, is misches a rank eg ol perno da var. Modele conteur is brodulshin asset, is buich den Calvados olemid triet. Da me mische tusse, is tusse me fin, et chachto les al, is e gumper o medscho cognac, eg shinnemer lan vulleg, skrivos a versa no go de me wulle. So this is my version of it. Here in the Rue Saint-Andre des Arts, in an Arabish bin me at the bar, decoding your lingo, backstreet or bizarre, for a frog, some GIs and a Rusky on the jar. Praising your phrasing, exotic or drab, sinking the Pernod, my drink on your tab. Bubbly for Joyce, our great Dublin author, who helped us down Calvados like it was water. Now if I Jim were you, Jim, and you, Jim, were I, fresh out of Les Halles and me flying sky high, awashed with your wine and your finest cognac, With a dose of sweet satire, Jim, you'd pay me back. Brandon O'Bechain.
Lovely, Raka. Right, okay. This time last year, we had a Bloomsday celebration in the bar of a London pub. Some of the people on the screen here were there that day. I can see Jerry O'Reilly. I can see Dara Yates. But the star of the show very much were Fergus and Mary, who came dressed the part. I don't think they've done that tonight, but it's great to see them and hear them anyway. Fergus Russell, first of all, please.
Right. How are you? Yeah, we can't even make an attempt to dress up because we're stuck here on an island. So we couldn't even get anything. I was looking for an eye patch, but to be the citizen. But anyway, the song I'd sing is a song that's close to my own family. My own family had a version of this song, and it's mentioned in Ulysses. Joyce was he was in his own way patriotic, and many of the songs mentioned in Joyce, he's got lots of different kinds, but one of them, many of them are traditional patriotic songs, and this is one of the most beautiful. This is one of the oldest 1798 songs. I think the earliest broadsheet I've come across is about 1803. So that was only half a dozen years or 5 years after the 1798 rebellion. So anyway, we sing this song. Twas early, early, all in the spring. The birds did whistle and sweetly sing. The notes they floated from tree to tree, and the song they sang was Old Ireland Free. I forsook the red and I forsook the blue, likewise the lily and the orange too. All royal despots I did disdain, I forsook them all for to wear the green. 'Twas early, early, all in the night, the yeoman cavalry gave me a fright. The yeoman cavalry were my downfall, and taken was I by Lord Cornwall. 'Twas in the guardhouse that I was laid, and in the parlour my trial made. My sentence passed and my spirit low, unto New Geneva I was forced to go. And as I was marched past my father's door, my brother William, he wept full sore. My aged father did me deplore, and my grey-haired mother at her locks she tore. My sister Mary heard the express, ran down the stairs in her morning dress. 100 guineas I would lay me down for to see my brother safe in Wexford town. And as I was marched down by Wexford Street, my only cousin I chanced to meet. My only cousin did me betray, and for 1 bare guinea sold my life away. And as I was marched down by Wexford Hill, oh, who would blame me to cry my fill? I looked behind and I looked before, but my aged mother I will see no more. And as I was mounted on the gallows high, my aged father was standing by. My aged father did me deny, and the name he gave me was the Croppy Boy. 'Twas in Duncannon that this young man died, and in Duncannon his body lies. All you brave patriots that do pass by, won't you shed a tear for the Croppy Boy? Thank you.
Well, folks, the wonderful Moira Cronin slaved hours getting up our running order for tonight's list, and then this idiot went and skipped one of the performers. But we're going to get back on track now. Eamon Hunt, I don't think can actually be with us, but I believe Dara has got a clip of him somewhere, so I'll unmute Dara.
I do indeed. I'll play it for you now. This is Eamon Hunt reading Percy French's The Queen's Address.
Me loving subjects is she. Here's me best respects is she. And I'm proud this day, says she, of the elegant way, says she, you gave me the hand, says she, when I came to land, says she. There was some people said, says she, there was greatly in dread, says she. I'd be murdered or shot, says she, as like as not, says she. But 'tis mighty clear, says she, 'tis not over here, says she, I have cause to fear, says she. 'Tis there in Belgium, says she, as throwing bombs, says she, and scaring the life, says she, out of me son and the wife, says she. But in these parts, says she, they have warm hearts, says she, and they like me well, says she. Bernana Parnell, says she. I dunno else, says she, what's come to the girl, says she. And that other one, says she, that Maud gone, says she, dressing in black, says she, to welcome me back, says she. Oh, I don't care, says she, what they wear, says she. And all that gammon, says she, about me bringing famine, says she. Now, mortal right, says she, that I brought the blight, says she, or altered the season, says she, for some private reason, says she. And that Willie Yates, says she, is missing a slate, says she. He should be at home, says she, French polishing up home, says she, instead of writing letters, says she, about his better, says she. Parading me crimes, says she, in the Irish Times, says she. But what does it matter, says she, this magpie chatter, says she. When that welcoming roar, says she, came in from the shore, says she, right over the foam, says she, 'twas like coming home, says she, and me heart fairly glowed, says she, along the rock road, says she, by Marion round, says she, to Booterstone, says she, till I came to the ridge, says she, of the Leeson Street Bridge, says she, and was welcomed in style, says she, by the beautiful smile, says she, of my Lord Mayor Pyle, says she. Faith, if I done right, says she, I'd make him a knight, says she. Well, I needn't repeat, says she, how they cheered in each street, says she, till I came to them lads, says she, them undergrads, says she. Indeed and indeed, says she, I've had many a Godspeed, says she, but none to compare, says she, with what I got there, says she. So pass round the jug, says she, and fill up each mug, says she, till I give ye a toast, says she, at which ye may boast, says she. I've a power of sons, says she, all sorts of ones, says she, some quiet as cows, says she, some always in rows, says she, and the one gives most trouble, says she, the mother loves double, says she. So drink to the men, says she, that have gone in to win, says she, and are clearing the way, says she, to Pretoria today, says she. In the gap of danger, says she, there's a Connaught Ranger, says she. And somewhere near, says she, is a Fusilier, says she. And the Enniskillings, not far, says she, from the heart of the war, says she. And I'll tell you what, says she, they may talk a lot, says she, and them fardin baboons, says she, may draw their cartoons, says she. But what they can't draw, says she, is the lion's claw, says she. And before our flag's furled, says she, we'll own the world, says she.
Eamon Hunt, ladies and gentlemen.
Superb stuff there from Eamon Hunt, I have to say. Superb stuff. And I don't know if you noticed, but the piece of paper he tipped over as he started it was the title, done in very Joycean letters. It's absolutely fabulous. So from there, we are going to move west again, west along the road. And I'm going to ask Fergus and Mary to unmute themselves again, or I might even try and unmute. There we go. So we're moving now to Mary McNeilis, who is going to give us Shularoon, am I right?
Yeah, I'm just thinking this time last year we were all dressed up in our finery, and I've noticed yet again that our backdrop is once again the kitchen sink with the dishes on it. Bit of a change. We'll have to organise something different for the next Zoom session.
Oh yeah.
We do move from the kitchen sink occasionally. Well, well, not as often as Fergus, but anyway, that's another story.
She has me chained to the kitchen sink.
Okay. Shularoon, this song is mentioned in Ulysses as well. It's actually sung by Stephen Dedalus to Leopold Bloom towards the end of the day. And it's an old song. It goes back to the Flight of the Arrows. It's macaronic now with the verse in English and the chorus in Irish, but it could possibly have been in Irish totally. So, and the chorus, I just translated for the people who have no Irish there. Shul, 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 Arun. Arun is a term of endearment. Shul is to walk, walk, my dear. Shul go sucker, agus shul go cún, walk with deliberation and quietly. Shul go doras agus éili lom, walk to the door and leave me. Is go je to my warning slán, and that you may come back safely. And my warning is a term of endearment, my darling. Okay, so. I wish I lived. I wish I lived on yonder hill. It's there I'd sit and cry my fill, until every tear would turn a mill. Is go jay to my warning slan. Shul, 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 Arun. Shul ga sucker agus shul ga cuan. Shul ga daras agus eliliam. Is go jay to my warning slan. I will sell my rock, I will sell my reel, I'll sell my only spinning wheel, to buy my love a sword of steel. Is good to my warning slan. Shul, 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 Arun. Shul ga sucker agus shul ga cuan. Shul ga daras agus eliliam. Is go to my warning slan. I will dye my petticoats, I'll dye them red, and round the world I'll beg my bread, until my parents would wish me dead. It's good to my warning slan. Shul, 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 Arun. Shul ga sucker agus shul ga cuan. Shul ga daras agus eliliam. Is go to my warning slan. I wish in vain. I wish I had my heart again, and vainly think I'd not complain. Is good to my warning slan. Shul, 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 Arun. Shul ga sucker agus shul ga cuan. Shul ga daras agus eliliam. Is good to my warning slan. And now my love has gone to France to try his fortune to advance. If he e'er comes back again, it's but a chance. It's good Jack to morning's land. Shoo, 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 la, roon. Shuga sucker agus shuga kyun. Shuga daris agus eliam. Is good day to morning sun. Sinead?
Lovely, Mary. That's absolutely gorgeous stuff. So, okay, so I'm gonna move on from Mary to the man with the microphone. He got a fierce slagging about this microphone over the last couple of weeks. So you can put it to good use now, Macbara, and give us a song.
Thanks very much, Maura. We're going to move from the sublime to the ridiculous now. As is well featured and documented in Ulysses, James Joyce, and all of his work, James Joyce was quite a fan of the underbelly, specifically the underbelly of Dublin. And this is a song I think he may have approved of, though it was written after he died, by George Hodnett, who was, of course, a jazz critic with the Irish Times, though I'm told he had no time for traditional singing or traditional songs. And for that reason, I'm quite delighted that this song has been taken up by many traditional singers and sung in many traditional contexts. It's called Take Her Up to Monto. I'm sure you'll know it, and please join in. Well, if you got a wingo, take her up to Ringo, where the waxy sing go all the day. If you've had your fill of porter and you can't go any further, give your man the order back to the K. And take her up to Monto, Monto, Monto. Take her up to Monto, Langaroo. To you, you heard of the buckshot Foster, the dirty owl imposter. He took his mott and lost her up the furry glen. He first put on his bowler, then he buttoned up his trousers, and he whistled for a growler, and he said, my man, take her up to Monto, Monto, Monto. Take her up to Monto, Langaroo. To you, you heard of the Dublin Fusiliers, the dirty old bamboozlers, the wet'll get the childers, 1, 2, 3, marching from the linen hall, there's one for every cannonball, and Vicky's going to send yous all o'er the sea. Be going up to Monto, 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 going up to Monto, Langaroo. To you, when Carey told and skinned the goat, O'Donnell put him on the boat. He never should have been afloat, the dirty skite. It wasn't very sensible to tell on the Invincibles. They stood up for their principles day and night. Take her up to Monto, Monto, Monto. Take her up to Monto, Langaroo. To you, now when the Sararusha and the King of Prussia landed in the Fino in the big balloon, they asked the Polish band to play the wearing of the green, but the buggers in the depot didn't know the tune, so they both went up to Monto, 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 both went up to Monto, Langaroo. To you, now the Queen, she came to calling us. Well, she wanted to see all of us. Well, I'm glad she didn't fall on us. She's 18 stone. Well, Mr. Me Lord Mayor, says she, is this all you've got to show to me? Why, no, ma'am, there's some more to see. Pogue Mahone, and they took her up to Monto, Monto, Monto. Took her up to Monto, Langaroo. Good night to you.
Hop.
Thank you very much.
Excellent stuff, McDara. I think you might get a less slagging about the microphone because it's got it gives you well, I'd say it gives you great sound, except for I know you sound great anyway with it or without it. Okay, next I am going to go to Mr. Jerry O'Reilly, who is the uncrowned king of the goaling. And is a huge part of the reason why I ever started to sing on a regular basis. And yeah, a fabulous fabulous person to have looking after all of us in the goaling. So yeah, off you go, Jerry. Well, you better unmute yourself first. Helps, you know. Not yet.
Is that okay?
Now you're talking.
Well, we're told that this was James Joyce's favourite song. No evidence for it. I've investigated and can come up with no evidence. As I was walking down the road one fine summer's morning, oh, the brown and the yellow ale, I met with a young man without any warning. Oh, love of my heart. He asked me if the woman by my side was my daughter. Oh, the brown and the yellow ale. When I says it was my wife, his manner didn't alter. Oh, love of my heart. He asked me if I'd lend her for an hour and a day. Oh, the brown and the yellow ale. I said, if she thinks that's right, you may take her away. Oh, love of my heart. He said, you take the high road and I'll be off with her. Oh, the brown and the yellow ale. And I'll meet you tomorrow by the ford of the river. Oh, love of my heart. I waited by the ford for an hour and a quarter. Oh, the brown and the yellow ale. And when she came to me, 'twas without shame I saw her. Oh, love of my heart. When she told me her story, I lay down and died. Oh, the brown and the yellow ale. She sent 2 men for timber and she never even cried. Oh, love of my heart. Aboard of elder and aboard of honey. Oh, the brown and the yellow ale. And 3 great yards of a shroud around me. Oh, love of my heart. If my own little mother had not been a woman, oh, the brown and the yellow ale, there is many another tale I could tell about women. Oh, love of my heart.
Lovely, Jerry. Okay. In a letter to his brother Stanislaus in, I think it was 1907, James Joyce suggested that some of his poems could be put to music. And our next performer has done just that. Her own tune.
Yeah.
Peter Webb.
Yes, it was back when I was a university student many years ago. looking in the poetry section, I found a very slim volume, poems penny each. And it's about, they were more than a penny, but it's about what I could afford at the time, a slim volume. And one of these poems really struck me. The mood of it was written some 10 years ago before Ulysses. The mood of it is much more of the dead, the short story of the dead, rather than of Ulysses. It's called She Weeps Over Rahoon. When on Rahoon falls softly, softly falling, where my dark lover lies. Sad is his voice that calls me, sadly calling, at grey moonrise. Love, hear thou how soft, how sad, his voice is ever calling, ever unanswered, and the dark rain falling. Then as now, dark to our love our heart shall lie, and cold as his sad heart has lain, under the moon grey nettles the black mold, and muttering rain.
I can't believe it. Right, lovely, Peter. I'm sure the great man would have approved, definitely. Without a doubt. Back to the man now whose idea, who put the idea in our heads really to run this evening, Mr. Racker O'Donnell.
Not O'Donnell.
Oh, Racker O'Donnell, sorry.
Donnelly.
Sorry, Racker.
Donnelly will do. Well, I mean, Ulysses is a fairly long book, but it's not long enough. It's not long enough, because at the end of it, it's a bit like a cliffhanger. You think, what's going to happen next? You know, what happened and now? But no, just a blank sheet at the end of the book. Luckily, a character in Ulysses called Bags Kummersky, rather wonderful man, wrote a sort of memoir. Well, he called it The Truth About the Blooms, but it's a kind of sequel to Ulysses, so it blows the gaff on everything that happened afterwards. So I'm performing this in absolute confidence. You are absolutely sworn to secrecy about everything in it, okay? I don't hear a murmur of agreement. Luckily, I have a lively imagination. Anyway, this is Bags Kummersky's take on what happened after Ulysses. And Bags was a very candid man. After the lad, the lodger, Stephen was his name, the premature professor, shot off to Switzerland to teach Berlitz, whatever that is, Molly went into partnership with a Mrs. Bella Cohn. From then on, it was a double order of thin sliced bread and folding up the stairs of a morning for your man, Poldy the scalding the teapot and rattling the old cups. Oh, Bella and Molly made a splendid spectacle, like a pair of handball alleys processing around Mountjoy Square, and his nibs with the parboiled eyes tottering after them like an unfurnished apartment. I think I was the only person ever liked Bloom and Molly. And I only really got to know Molly after his funeral. Her mother, Lunita Laredo, There's the name of a poster for Duffy's Circus, huh? Lenita Laredo did a runner early on. The da was a military man. Tweedy of Rourke's Drift, one of the Royal Dublin Fusiliers, meant to be keeping an eye on the Rock of Gibraltar, but by that stage he could hardly cope with his own moustache. Put the child in the grip of an old one called Rubio, twin sister to the nun who invented barbed wire. So, of course, Molly picks up most of her education down the docks. The only life in her life is the Jolly Jack Tars and the soldier boys with their epaulettes and their shiny chevrons. They called her the Muchacha Hermosa, the gorgeous girl, with her deep dark eyes, luscious lips, velvet voice, and a chest that came to meet you. Miss Marion Tweedy always thought she'd marry a handsome prince, or at least a frog with a yacht. But at sweet 16, she was banished from the Garden of Eden forever, exiled to the city of the plain. Molly was never as mean as people made out. Dublin people are far too quick at casting nasturtiums. If she was that mean, tell me, why did she make a vest, a lamb's wool vest for little Rudy to keep him warm in the box? She rarely gave a beggar the go by, and a street musician never. Bloom? He was like Lanty McHale's goat, always going stepping away with you. Always some little nugget of knowledge, query, some rigmarole you'd hardly make head nor tail of, which is all fine and grand in the street. But imagine having that about you all the time, traipsing round the house after you. That must be a horse of a different kettle altogether. Mooching and skulking in your wake with his advices, constantly reminding you how to suck eggs and milk your granny's ducks. How could any woman in the world put up with that? And fluting his tootle wherever, the bold chemalier, with the giveaway hair on the shoulder, and the whiff of a painted lady, and I don't mean a butterfly. Oh, Molly had a lot to put up with, and interfering with the domestics. Didn't exactly lie idle herself, of course, with her squadrons and dragoons, foreign. Sure, we were mesmerised. For Molly was the Queen of Sheba, a Jewess, a Jezebel. You didn't get many of them around Eccles Street. With the voice of a nightingale. Not that I'd know a nightingale from a boiled owl. Her da, the Galloping Major, was a staunch defender at Rourke's Drift, and she was staunch on a different battlefield. 10 years she wore the Keep Off sign, with old Cockalorum marooned alongside upside down, but she stuck to her guns, playing Mrs. Van Winkle in Sleepy Hollow. Poor Poldy denied his conjugals, inhaling commingled jessamine, jism, and apopanax, and she in the arms of Murphy under the Moorish wall. After the bust-up with Doyle, Bloom and Bella put together the Tweedy Flower Concert Tour on a small scale, right enough, but at least it stopped so-called butties inquiring who's getting it up, i.e. who's manning the gap, who's using your head for a hat stand. That's Senator Norris. Lovely man, but I gave him ginger, oh yes. I tickled this catastrophe, believe you me, when he was on the pop of unveiling the plaque on the house in Clanbrassil Street. I roared out from the back of the crowd a timely warning. Poldy's parents never lived there, ma'am. Begging your parsnips, they lived along the way on the edge of Little Jerusalem. I knew them well. At which point, 2 special branch detectives hies me up by the oxters and offered me round the corner. That's what you're up against. Nobody wants the truth. Leopold Paula Bloom. There's a name to keep a man indoors for life. Baffled he was as all, made sick to the quick by pignorance, arrogance, tuggery, the way a true man should be, or a woman either. The man deserved a medal. a leather medal with a putty rim. Oh, geez, I'm as bad as the rest of them. After Poldy passed over, Molly said, sure, all the old conundrum ever wanted was to turn Dublin city into Flowerville, with peace on earth, honour to all, a calf to every cow. And he on his marrowbones, looking up lacy boots in a lady's shoe shop, with me resplendent in the low-cut crocus dress, centre stage in the gate, he's singing La Chi Darem, vis-a-vis that appropriately named Bowsy Stephen Diddless. I used to call up to Mrs. Bloom in the home. I was there when she asked Sister Alopecia, who's paying for all this? Me stabling, the grooming, the nose bag? Sister Alopecia leans over. You're living off the kindness of the Joyce estate. Where's that, says Molly, in Sligo? Oh, there or thereabouts, says Sister Alopecia. But remember this, they'd hate for even a hint of their furtive clandestine benevolence ever to get out. I can still hear Molly's voice ringing along the ward. I said to Blazes Boylan, I said, how do you like me bosoms? He said, poached. She used to complain, I can't remember nothing about sex except it was bloody marvellous what you were born for, but I can't remember, nor me mother, whoever she was. And where did she go? Under the sea, I used to think, running off, hand in hand with the Barbary Yape, off under the sea to Africa. It's all going now. The oranges, the olives, even the smells, the view of Algeciras gone. My fella Bloom, he'd cry for a cat. All the palaver over Paddy Dignam's funeral, do you think Paddy Dignam had ever gone to his? They thought I was a Jewess and him a Jew man, and they were wrong shipped both times, always as ever. Didn't do me any harm, but he made too much of it, going on and on, trailing his coat about Jesus being a Jew. Jesus a Jew, that's just asking to be crucified. Though to be fair to the poor gone, he'd a very inventive turn of mind. Not that he ever got round to inventing, less you count. Sleeping vice versa and kissing me bottom as I lay in slumber, Maria. Kissing me bottom out of remorse. So maybe he did invent something in the heel of the hunt, the remorse code. At that she laughed so much they had to change the sheets. Molly did have her blind spots. I can't stand unlucky men, she'd say, and Bloom would throw his eyes up to heaven like a holy pitcher. Trouble with Bloom, she used to say, was he was a one-eyed man in the city of the blind going around saying, do you see? And whatever you said or whatever he said himself, always the slow tilt of the head. And Christ McKeown by the holy farmer, you knew what was coming, how and ever. On the other hand, and you were off round the houses till Tuesday was a week, that man, I swear, God rest him, could see two sides to a balloon. Uncertain he was as a child's bottom. Her, lonely as the last rose of Castile. Losing Rudy, put the Atlantic Ocean between them. It's true she wasn't cut out to be a mother, nor got any training from her own, but to lose both children and Millie to bloody Boylan, she didn't deserve that. But it was only when she left off the curse of God's stays that her tide went out. People often ask me, did she ever, did she ever, Well, just the once. I think just to be polite. And I hope I was just as polite. And no, I said, no, Molly, no. And Bags gave me Molly's very last words, the very last words of Molly Bloom, according to Bags Comiskey. As a girl I'd a magical aura, then in full bloom I was Flora. Soon I'll be carrying Once I was marrying a damn anagram of I'm Nora, because Nora couldn't bear to be compared to Molly, and I dare say Molly took the same view of her. Sinead.
Okay. Right. Very good.
And now it's my honor and glory
Is it?
to introduce me
It's
lovely
not your, Wrecker, it's not your honor and glory just yet.
Is it not? Oh, sorry. Am I
though it,
misreading?
it shall be your honor and glory. So I think we have to go to Martin Doyle now to give us.
Of course we do. The wife will. Luckily she's a very patient woman. Yes. Apologies all round.
Okay.
Great to hear Martin again.
Hello. Well, have you heard of one Humpty Dumpty? How he fell with a roll and a rumble and curled up like Lord Oliver Crumble by the butt of the magazine wall. The magazine wall, hump helmet and all. He was one time our king of our castle. Now he's kicked around like a rotten old parsnip. And from Green Street he'll be sent by order of his worship to the penal jail of Mountjoy. The jail of Mountjoy, a jail of Mountjoy. He was forefather of all schemes for to bother us. Slow coaches and immaculate contraceptives for the populace. Mare's milk for the sick, 7 dry Sundays a week. Open air love and religions reform. Religious reform. Hideous inform. Out why says you couldn't he manage it? I'll go bail me fine dairyman's darling, like the bumping bull of the Cassidys. All his butter is in his horn. All your butter is in your horn. Butter his horn. We had chops, chairs, chewing gum, the chicken pox and china chambers, universally provided by our soft soaping salesman. Small wonder he'd cheater when our local lads nicknamed him when Chimpton first took the floor with his bucket shop store down Bargain's Weg Lore. Oh, so snug he was in his hotel premises, sumptuous, but soon we'll bonfire all his tricks and his trumpery. And 'tis short till Sheriff Clancy'll be winding up his unlimited company with the bailiff's bum at the door. Bim bam at the door, and he'll bum no more. Oh, sweet bad luck on the waves that watch to our island, the hooker upper hammer fast Viking, and Gall's curse on the day when Niall Blana's Bay saw his black and tan man of war on the harbour bar. Where from Roar's pool beg cooking halfpenny balls down his my Scampital Wick and Wimp and Fampany. Fingal MacOscar one sign barge ears bony face. Tux Mins Gamal Hole nor via Jickers moniker Agazay at Gamal Hor nor via Jickers cod. A Norwegian camel's el cod. He is begot. It was what during some freshwater garden pumping, or according to the nursing mirror while admiring the monkeys, that our heavyweight heathen Humphrey made bold a maiden to woo, 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 What'll she do? The general lost her maiden loo. He ought to blush for himself, for old hay-headed philosopher, for to go and shove himself that way on top of her. Abby Gobby's the crooks of the catalogue of our antediluvial zoo. Messrs. Billings and Coo knows larks good as new. He was jolting by Wellington's monument, our notorious hippopotamus, when some bugger let down the back strap of his omnibus and he caught his death of Fusiliers with his rent in his rears. Give him 6 years. 'Tis sore pity on his poor innocent children, but look out for his Mrs. Legitimate. When that fru gets a grip of our earwicker, won't there be earwigs on the green? Big earwigs on the green, the largest ever you've seen. Then we'll hold a free trade Gales band and mass meeting, or to sod the bold son of Scandinavia, and we'll bury him down in Oxman's town, along with the devil and Danes, with the devil and Danes and all the remains. And all the king's men and his horses won't resurrect his corpus, for there is no true spell in Connacht or hell that's able to raise a king.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm a bit stunned by that, Martin. That was just just to even keep all those words in your head is fantastic. I am going to call on Andrew Baskeel at this moment, because Andrew is another regular member of the Goleen, and he's going to give us a song. Off you go there, Andrew.
Well, did you ever hear the story of how Bloomsday came to be? 'Twas in 1954 and certain gents went on the spree. Paddy Kavanagh and John Ryan and a cousin of Joyce named Tom, Tony Cronin and Flann O'Brien, that's Breen O'Neill when he's at home. In Sandy Cove they tried to climb the tower where they mad, and following no one's funeral, off they went in horse-drawn cabs into Dublin without passing a pub along the way, 'cause they stopped and entered every single one they met that day. Well, here we are, we're zooming in, another Bloomsday's here again. It's June 16th and all around the world we're doing the same, rejoicing and reciting as we celebrate the day, immortalized forever long ago in Ulysses. There is evidence on YouTube, take a look and you will see how they had to make a stop in Sandymount to take a pee. They relieved themselves discreetly by the seawall they were hid, and that's as close as ever they got to doing as Daedalus did. And in a betting shop in Irish Town, they gathered round to hear the Gold Cup on the radio. The commentary was clear. It was won, in case you're wondering, by a nag named Elpenor. Not one of them had a throwaway tip like 50 years before. Well, here we are, we're zooming in, another Bloomsday's here again. June 16th and all around the world they're doing the same, rejoicing and reciting as we celebrate the day, immortalized forever long ago in Ulysses. Well, any chance to find a night town had long since disappeared. They wound up in the Bailey, literati on their ear. But look at what they started, if they could only see. Here comes everybody in their Bloomsday finery. And here we are, we're zooming in, another Bloomsday's here again. June 16th and all around the world we're doing the same, rejoicing and reciting as we celebrate the day, immortalized forever long ago in Ulysses.
Brilliant, Andrew. Excellent. And bit of dancing with it as well. Okay, so I'm going to I've got a call on I think our last almost our last singer, and he's chosen this moment in time to step out of the room. So I'm going to keep talking while somebody goes and fetches Luke. Yeah, I'm sure he'll be here with us now shortly. I suppose.
Moira, this is a good time to mention that Luke actually sent in a video of him singing because he didn't think he'd be able to make it, and now he has been able to make it. But at the moment that he's asked to sing, he's not there. I feel like he's coming.
Here he's coming here.
Oh, we have him.
Can you
You're muted now. We're good to go.
Yeah,
we're good to go. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
not before I introduce you, though, Luke, because
go ahead, yeah. Introduce me with style, please.
Luke, I've been working on this introduction for 3 weeks now. I was going to say, if Jerry O'Reilly is the uncrowned king of the goaling, well, Luke Cheevers is his beating heart. And you never know you never know what Luke is going to do when he stands up in the goal. He might sing or he might talk, and he's known to dance as well. But one thing you'll know is that when Luke stands up, you'll be entertained and possibly even educated as well. So, Luke, do you want to give it a lash there?
Yeah,
I believe.
all right, yeah. Well, I want to welcome everyone to the night that's in it. And what I'm going to say, and I want to say something to Jerry O'Reilly. Are you listening? I hope so. I'm sure you are. Because do you see?
I'm listening very closely, Luke.
Yeah, do you see the expensive clubber I have on me? Right? With me bowler and me black jacket, me lovely shirt and me propeller.
You're looking great, Luke.
The club will be getting a fancy bill for all this. So I want you to prepare yourself. But anyway, look, we'll have a song. And who was it? Who sang Molly Brannigan earlier on? Alan, yeah, over in the music place. And he sang Molly Brannigan. Well, Joyce wrote a parody of it, and he didn't give a title to it. Well, the title's not in the book anyway. It's not in Elman's book. But anyway, we'll get into the song. Man, do you remember buxom Molly Bloom at all? As plump an Irish beauty as Annie Levy Blumenthal. If she sat in the vice-regal box, Jim Healy'd have no room at all. But he'd curl up in a corner at the glance from her eye. Man, do you remember when me roving days were troubling me? We picnicked fine in storm and shine through France and Spain and Hungary. She said she'd be me first and last, while the wine I poured went bubbling free. Now any man you meet with has a finger in her pie. Man, do you remember? Oh, I'll have to consult me book. Oh, no, yeah. Man, do you remember when me roving days were troubling me? We picnicked fine in storm and shine through France and Spain and Hungary. She said she'd be me first and last, while the wine I poured went bubbling free. Now every man you meet with has a finger in her pie. Man, dear, I remember with all the heart and brain of me, I arrayed her for the bridal, but oh, she proved the bane of me. With more puppies sniffing round her, like the wooers of Penelope. If I could be sure I'd not be seen, I'd sit down and die. Me left eye is awash, and his neighbour full of water, man. I cannot see the lass I limned, as Ireland's gamest daughter, man. When I hear our lovers tumbling in their thousands for to court her man, if I could be sure I'd not be seen, I'd sit down and cry. Diddly idle dum da dee da dum da diddly dum da dee da dum da rum da diddle deedle da da diddly dum da dee da da rum da diddle deedle da da diddly dum da dee da da rum da diddle deedle dum da dee dum da da rum dee da 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 rum da dee da dum da 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 diddly dum da dee da 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 rum da deedle deedle da rum da dum da dee da 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 diddly dum da dee da da rum da diddle deedle dum da dee dum da da. Thank you very much. Thank you.
It is now Racker's opportunity to have the great honour and pleasure of introducing his cracker, as she's named in the Zoom window.
It's even better second time round. Yeah. So I'm delighted to introduce Maggie as Molly. Maggie as Molly Bloom.
Okay.
Right, away you go.
Thank you. Okay, lovely to be here. And I haven't got my lovely hats for Bloomsday because you can't get across to Dublin to get my hats, I'm afraid. So no hats for me today. But I normally love walking around Sandy Cove on Bloomsday with Racker. This is the first time I think that we haven't managed to do it in a lot of years. Anyway, lovely to be here with you in spirit. So, Molly. This is Molly's soliloquy, thinking of old times. The sun shines for you, he said, the day we were lying among the rhododendrons on Howth Head. In the grey tweed suit and his straw hat, the day I got him to propose to me. Yes. First, I gave him the bit of seed cake out of my mouth. It was a leap year like now. Yes, 16 years ago. My God, after that long kiss, I nearly lost me breath. Yes, he said. He said I was a flower of the mountain. Yes. So we're flowers all. A woman's body, yes. That was one true thing he said in his life. And the sun shines for you today. Yes. That was why I liked him, because I saw he understood or felt what a woman is. And I knew I could always get around him. And I gave him all the pleasure I could, leading him on till he asked me to say yes. And I wouldn't answer that first, only looked over the sea and the sky. The Spanish girls laughing in their shawls and their tall combs, and the auctions in the morning, the Greeks and the Jews, and the Arabs, and the devil knows who else, and the poor donkeys slipping half asleep, and the old castle, thousands of years old, yes, and those handsome Moors, all in white turbans, like kings, asking you to sit down in their little bits of a shop, and Rhonda with the owled windows of the posadas, glancing eyes, a lattice hid for his lover to kiss the iron, and the castanets, and the night we missed the boat at Algeciras. The watchman going about, serene with his lamp, and oh, that awful deep down torrent, oh. And the sea, crimson sometimes like fire, and the glorious sunsets, and the fig trees in the Alameda Gardens, yes, and all the queer little streets, and pink and blue and yellow houses, and the rose gardens, and the jessamine and geraniums, and cactuses, and Gibraltar as a girl, where I was a flower of the mountain, yes. When I put the rose in my hair like the Andalusian girls used, and how he kissed me under the Moorish wall. And I thought, well, as well him as another. And then I asked him with my eyes to ask again, yes. And then he asked me, would I? Yes. To say yes, my mountain flower? And first I put my arms around him, yes, and drew him down to me so he could feel my breasts all perfume, yes. And his heart was going like mad. And yes, I said, yes, I will, yes. Okay.
Well, Racker, you are due to sing or recite us out. Ken and Peter were due to actually introduce you to do so and say a few final words, but it seems like they've been... Go ahead.
Yeah, we have Ken and Peter on the phone. Their connection dropped out.
Just say hi, Ken.
Okay, hi everybody. Thanks for a lovely evening. We really enjoyed it.
We haven't finished yet. Are you going to introduce Racker?
To finish introduce Racker to finish the last one.
It's all right. I was glad of the little...
Everybody, just as Maggie was doing that lovely soliloquy, so we missed most of it. But we have had a great evening, and to finish it off, no better man than Racker Donnelly.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. I really need a bucket of cold water over my head after that, frankly. But it was lovely. It was gorgeous. Yeah. We used to live in Sandy Cove, almost opposite Fitzgerald's pub, which is a Joycean shrine with illustrations of bits of the book all around the pub. And we used to be one of the guest performers up on the Martello Tower, up on in the Joyce Museum, on the top reciting and that kind of thing on Bloomsday each year. I did that for about 5 years, and I thought I should write something about Joyce and his connections to the tower and that kind of thing. And I accidentally, in the course of it, annoyed the great man, and I think the ending of it wasn't too unhappy though. After that. Anyway, this is what happened. Oh, so I'm up in the tower when it starts. Oh, Mr. Joyce, we miss your voice on this most joyous day. Pluribells ringing, people singing songs of yesterday. The moon hath raised her lamp above, the harp in Tara's hall, oft in the stilly night, and fill the fluter's ball. O Joycean tower, truncated phallos, oracular omphalos, by scrotum throttling, snot bemottled sea, tell us what sort of day it's gonna be. Aha, silence, answer comes there none, sure it's only a clump of stone. Which brings me, Mr. Jumped Up Joyce, to my socio-political moan. In your cycloramic, kaleidoscopic, quizmicological plan, where is the working man? Ambrosia, nectar, aguardiente, wines of Moorish Spain, but never a pint of plain, sirens, maidens, lillabolero, metaphysics and tumbling hair, but where is the broken fanlight and the missing stair? Ha! Mr. Joyce, didn't see you. Back from the dead? Is it something I said? Are you up for a jar? For a jar, Jim is always a jar. Then join me, Mr. Joyce. We'll prop up Fitzgerald's bar. Be my guest. What's this? The Café Trieste? Will you have a pint? Ah, why are you looking so gloomy? Being a ghost, I have to stick to spirits, and it else goes right through me. Tom, for Mr. Nobody, a hot toddy. Now, Giacomo, a question about today, Bloomsday. Sure, that's why I'm here. It's Disentombsday. June the 16th, date I first dated Nora Barnacle. Oh, matchless matching day, 'twas Listone Varnicle. But Bloomsday, Terrara Boomsday, the name's a Hames Day. Let's call a spud, it should be James Day. My query relates to call it what you like. Molly Bazoon's Day. In the year of flowery revolution, 1968, when a certain she, a very certain she, appeared at the 40-foot, that macho patch, mystically and misogynistically male, and she stripped to swimsuit, and as 50 dropping jaws bade, "It's a female," her maiden plunge deflowered the Virgin Bay. Ever since that Molly bloomin' day, women are welcomed, not with cold bucket, but with rose bouquet. But who was that nameless, shameless she? Shade of great Grace O'Malley? Ghost of the Colleen Bawn? Queen Maeve? Maud Gonne? Sheila Nagig? Kathleen Ní Houlihan? That mighty Aphrodite, that jaunty Jezebel, that devil-may-care Diana, was an Olivia Plurabelle. That mighty Aphrodite, that jaunty Jezebel, that devil-may-care Diana, was an Olivia Plurabelle. Weachas le Joyce. Dara's going to do the finale.
Yeah, well, folks, just want to say a huge thanks to everybody for joining in. It's kind of strikes me what a Dublin-centric event Bloomsday is, but we have people from all over, people from all parts of the country and people across the border as well, and it's been a total pleasure to just explore Joyce and the various pieces of work that maybe tangentially relate to him as well. Been absolutely wonderful. Maura, have you got anything to say before we sign off?
Yeah, just wanted to thank everybody involved. Thanks to Ken and Peter actually for bringing it to the Goleen and presumably to the Larrys as well. Thanks to all who sang. And thanks to everyone who helped to organise it. So yeah, it's been great fun this evening, and yeah, thanks. EUI.
Thanks, Maura. Thanks, Dara.
Margaret.